my name is Ivan Brower. I'm currently just doing general studies here at Douglas College, hoping to transfer next semester, hopefully to go to university somewhere for history. I attended Högskolan Väst, or in English, University West in Trollhättan, Sweden. Trollhättan is a city that's about 40-minute train ride away from Gothenburg, which is the second biggest city in Sweden. All the courses that I did there, except one, were part of the EITBIT program, which is International Politics. And every single course I took there translated back towards Douglas, and I received credit for all of them. I had a huge itch to travel, but traveling when you've never traveled before is really scary. So when I have a program that kind of sets me up to bring me to another country while still having a purpose to do so, helped me a lot. But when I was there, I had all the opportunity when I had free time from my studies to travel elsewhere, because when you're in Europe, you can go anywhere. My first traveling experience while I was in Sweden, where I traveled to, I went to Poland on a flight where my round trip cost was about 30 Canadian dollars. I started off with one semester, then about two months through my first semester, I emailed Amanda, my advisor for the whole thing, and asked could I do a second semester. And so it was by far the best decision that I've made in my life so far. Three things that really stand out to me. First one was the amount of friends I made. I think I made, over the 2 semesters, I made about 40, 50 friends. A lot that I still keep in contact today. I've gotten word this week that one that is going to be doing Erasmus, or like their study abroad in America, but quite close to Vancouver, and that they would love to visit. So to see some of my friends when they eventually do travel to Canada, there was a lot of them that wanted to travel here for school or just for holiday. My second favorite one, I think, was just the ability to live on my own. It's a very tough thing to do here with the cost of living. The fact that I was able to get into an apartment there, groceries there were very reasonable. And the third one, I think, really is just experiencing like a whole new culture. I was able to try things that I've never thought I'd never be able to do here, which I thought was really, really amazing. So this photo is some of the experiences that I never thought, or not that I thought I would never experience. This is a sport played often in most of Scandinavia, I think also in Switzerland, called floorball, or in Swedish innebandy. I got to play as a goalie. It was really, really fun to do it. But most of my gear in this photo was actually given to me for free, either by people on the team, or I actually have some gear that was given to me by someone off the Swedish equivalent of Craigslist. So it just shows how hospitable and how nice the Swedes were. I think like everything from my shoes, pants, helmet, this jersey. I bought a little bit of gear, but almost everything that I wore in this photo was lent to me. And it was also they let some guy who's never played before just the opportunity to play. I didn't get to play much because I wasn't that good, but just having the opportunity, I think, was super, super amazing, and it's something I miss a lot today. Actually, our school, Högskolan Väst, every Tuesday, we had our fika day where they gave us little coupons. They gave us, it was about, I think the amount they gave us was about 40 crowns or 5 Canadian dollars. You can go to the cafe and you pick up $5 worth of goods, and you sit around with other exchange students, or even domestic students. I met a lot of my friends when I first got there. I met a few domestic and they are some of my best friends still today. And they were the ones that sort of helped bring me into feeling welcome there. And just kind of goes back to the whole Swedish hospitality with all of my gear being lent or given to me for free. Every Thursday it was almost religious of us, is that we all go to karaoke together, and the bar became known as more of an international bar than a Swede bar. Every Thursday there'd be up to 40, 50 international students, and they're all singing Taylor Swift, ABBA, and whatever songs from their home countries over just the Swedish people, which was it was very, very fun and a very interesting experience. And it's probably it's something that I have a lot of photos and videos that I get reminded of every time I open up my gallery and I swipe through. In the city, there's something there called the Stridsbanken, which is a place that you can go to. It's in I don't know if it's all across Sweden, but it's for sure in Trollhättan and some other cities in the region that I was in, where you can go there and just rent any sort of recreational equipment for free. Every student there rented a bicycle for free, which was very, very, very nice to get around to and from school. I had friends that rented camping equipment, from tents to sleeping bags, everything that they needed to go away for camping. Our skiing trip here, every single piece here was rented to us out by Aslan and Stridsbanken Trollhättan. Aslan, if you're ever watching this, thank you. I think the most challenging part, it wasn't just living abroad, but also just traveling. Is whenever you encounter a problem, any sort of problem, it's not going to be something that's normally clearly laid out, because every country that you go to, for the most part, is not going to be in English. So if you encounter issues, you're having to iron your way through those problems, along with the language barrier. I mean, I was very lucky that most problems that I had in Sweden, I could still get around with English. A lot of people there speak incredible English, but an example is when I had to go to the doctor because I thought I broke my finger, and sometimes there, translating medical terms from Swedish to English is not very easy, but you find something that I taught myself and something that I picked up from there that I brought home here is that sometimes not everything's going to be smooth sailing, and that you're going to get through your problems. It may not be pretty or may not be the way that you want to, but you can definitely get through every single problem if you put your mind to it, and that you can't just succumb to them. I mean, I was very lucky for my first semester that I had it basically all paid for through scholarships that I applied for, which was super, super exciting. I was doing some exchange work in my old high school, and I got an email and they're like, "Congratulations, you got a $5,000 scholarship." And I was just like, I quadruple checked the email. I thought this was maybe some sick prank, some sick, terrible scam, but it was totally legit, and which just made, any sort of financial worries go away. But the fact I had savings in my account just from all my working to do my second semester, but even then, all the cost of doing it for what I got and what I paid, it was very reasonable. I think my apartment's rent was about $700 Canadian, and groceries were fairly reasonable. I know some of the big standouts that I remember was I used to always have yogurt and granola for breakfast, and I got a 2-liter thing of yogurt for about $4 Canadian, which would cost probably about $20 here. And in Trollhättan, there's a few quite reasonable grocery stores nearby. I think for me to walk to the grocery store, it takes me about 15-20 minutes, but there's also very reasonable and very reliable transportation around there. What did I not gain? I gained, a bit of a language. I could speak a little bit of Swedish. I gained independence. I never lived on my own before, and the fact I can do it. I learned traveling experience, being put in awkward situations and thriving in them, not being put in, situations that are, curated fully towards you, even though, an exchange program, they try and, break you into it, but there's still a ton of things that you go into there that you don't know how to do, and that's something that you have to figure out on your own, which I learned that skill, how to just adapt to uncomfortable situations. I learned, kind of a cliche, but I think it's kind of real, is, there's a whole different world outside of Canada, especially Vancouver, that, is something to explore, and, maybe somewhere where I want to take my life, and that's something that I want to try when I graduate. They have a lot of not holidays, but national days for sweets. Like, I think the first one I heard about was National Cinnamon Bun Day, National Kanelbulle Day. They had other days, I think, for cake, another type of bun called the cardamom bun. They have one just for like these chocolate balls. They're about the size of, trying to put about the size of that, and they cover it with coconut. They had a day for that. They had a lot of days just dedicated to random foods, especially sweets. And I think that just it's got something to do with their coffee break or fika, where a lot of the time Swedes just like to get out and just have, like, even just during work, they go out and just have coffee and a sweet. It's a very, very, very proud thing that they have, where do they just, take breaks and have fika just to relax. And I think that's why their country is so cool and smooth running. And I've never saw any of them stress there. I think the biggest thing that I can take away from there that I can apply to my future career in being a teacher or an educator is that English teaching is maybe something that I want to do more, as it feels a lot more obtainable over there. And I always talk to all my friends. They said, "Oh, teach English. We need English teachers in my country. Oh, we need English teachers in my country." And I did a lot of research online, and there's English teachers. They need English teachers everywhere. So it makes me feel a lot more optimistic now that I've got this whole new appreciation for traveling and experiencing new cultures, and the fact that I can apply a career to that is super exciting. Yes, absolutely. When I first start, I think this is kind of personal, but I think it's really important to say, is that when before I even thought about applying for this, I was someone that thought I would never really leave Canada. Like, I wanted to travel, but I was just too shy, too scared. But once I slowly built up the confidence to, be ballsy enough to apply for this, obviously just listening to this, someone who may be listening to this, it's been the biggest, or the best decision of my life. And I highly recommend anyone who has, some courage to do it, because everyone that I've talked to, that I met there, they always say that doing an exchange year is the best thing that they've ever done, and I can vouch for that. Amanda here was absolutely fantastic, and I credit everything to her for being able to get me over there. I had so many questions, and she guided me through and answered all the questions without seeming tired of me. The amount of emails I sent her, just like being like, "I'm so sorry," just all this anxiety of not making sure I don't do anything wrong, but she was so understanding, and I thank her every time for it. Now I've gone from wanting to be a domestic teacher teaching high school here to international teaching English, maybe in several different places just to experience more of the world and, you know, have that same sort of impacting experience in teaching, hopefully teaching kids a new language, which I think is very fulfilling, while also starting to fulfill that desire to travel that I still have today. I think the only summary I could really put from it was best experience of my life. If you have the idea or the thought of doing it, do it. I think it's an amazing thing to do. Definitely something to research, and, you know, something I'd love to explain to anyone. To, you know, if I can motivate someone to do it, I'd do that too.